So my supercharged Honda Civic Type R project was overheating, then it wouldn't start. Then whilst I was changing the starter motor, I broke a few more things. So now it's got a new starter motor, new knock sensor, and it came with a thermostat, which didn't quite fit, but I swapped some bits around, got all that in, got it all back together, and now it cranks over, but it won't fire. Oh, come on. Since that video, I tagged Yuasa Batteries in one of my Instagram stories and they sent me a new battery for it as well, which is really handy because at the moment we're cranking over a lot and it's not firing. Then I took a picture of the engine bay and put it on a few Facebook Civic Type R groups and said, this is the problem that I've got. Has anyone got any help? And I've got lots and lots of helpful things to come and check, some slightly not helpful things to check, but we're going to run through those now and see if we can get the thing going. Right, so this is the current state of play. It was all back together, got a new Yuasa battery on there, and at the moment it cranks over, but it won't start. So we go key on, which was that gear, which it is, and that's all it does. So let's run through what we got sent. Right, we're going to try a few things that we've been sent on the internet. First of all, crankshaft position sensor. He says it's right next to the starter on the K20, easy to unplug. Well, the only sensor that I can see that's right next to the starter motor is the knock sensor, which maybe means a knock sensor, because I'm pretty sure the crankshaft position sensor's up here, or down there where the crank is, and the camshaft sensor will be at the top, crankshaft will be down the bottom. So I don't think it's that. I think he means knock sensor, which I've checked and changed as well. Now, somebody else has said starter wiring and engine grounds. Now, if the starter wiring is not correct and the engine grounds aren't earthing properly, then it won't crank over. So, because somebody else said, oh, check, you've got a fully charged battery, it cranks over like the clappers. So it can't be battery, can't be engine grounds, can't be ignition, could still be immobiliser. Somebody else has said immobiliser, so it could be the immobiliser. That's above my pay grade. I wouldn't know where to start with that. Somebody else has said fuel pump prime. When you turn the key to the ignition on, you should hear the fuel pump prime for a couple of seconds, which I can. Somebody else said fuel pump inertia switch. Now, they told me where it is as well. Let's go and find it. Now, inside the door, pull the keys out because it does like a weird beeping thing. Inside the door, in this little cubbyhole, there's a little switch, which you may or may not be able to see. I can't even, oh, it's there. No, it's not. Where is it? Oh, it's there. So up there is a fuel pump inertia switch, which apparently in the event of, that's already pushed down, in the event of a high voltage spike or a crash, the fuel pump inertia switch can trip, which means if you've had a crash and you're unconscious but your car's still running, effectively it will cut the fuel pump within 5 seconds, 10 seconds, your car will cut out of fuel, and then potentially you won't die of carbon monoxide poisoning in your car, something like that. But the button's down, so it's not that. Somebody else has said, have you tried safety cut-off switch? The same thing. Have you forgotten to plug something in? I've gone through everything. I even took this main manifold intake pipe bit off, checked everything, and went underneath because there's a bunch of plugs underneath. I've checked all of those. Fuel pump relay. Again, you wouldn't hear the fuel pump prime if the fuel pump relay was wrong, so that's not that, or broken, sorry. Map sensor plugged in. I think that's that, but that's all plugged in. Give that a wiggle, check all the fuses. I've pulled out all the fuses in that fuse box as well, everything's fine. Have you grounded the earth on the injector loom? That's a new one. Earth on the injector loom, because if it's not because if the injector loom's not getting power, it would crank over, but it's not getting any fuel. Injector loom. Oh, that's that. Yeah. That's all plugged in. Enough fuel in the car. That was a good shout, to be fair, because if it's got no fuel, it crank a bit. It was literally running before, so check the fuel pump inertia switch behind the dash too. Yeah, it's got a quarter of a tank, and the fuel pump's running. Starter relay. Again, it's cranking over, so it's not the starter relay. Right, this one's an interesting one. Someone said, have you got an Ecutek map on it? I noticed that it's supercharged, which it is. If it's been mapped on Ecutek, there's a kill map on setting 4. It could be that. I said, I haven't got a laptop, or how do I check what map it's on? He said, if you put the ignition on, hold the cruise control cancel button and the dash rev counter will go to what map it's on. And it said map 1 is a normal map, map 2 is like party mode map, where it would do pops and bangs and launch controls and whatever. Map 3 is valet mode, so it won't go over certain revs and it won't go over a certain mile an hour. And map 4 is a kill map, where it will crank over but it won't fire. News to me. If this works, Joseph Bedford, are you a beer? All right, keys back in, ignition on. Let's sit down a bit. Press and hold cancel button. Oh, it's gone to map, it's gone to 4. So is that map 4? Hang on, it's gone back again. Press and hold cruise control cancel button, and then up and down. Map 3, map 2, map 1. Save it. Now, start button. Oh, it's running, but it's not happy. Oh, that doesn't sound very good at all. Okay, it's better than it was. It's now running, but it sounds like it's misfiring. Let's check that again. So, cruise control cancel button is now on map 1. Let's try another map. Let's try map 2. Okay, it fires straight up, but it's not happy. Let's go back to map 1, because that's like the normal mode. Oh, that's well clever. 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's like some hidden menu. Right, let's fire it again. That sounds like a, I don't know. Sounds like a 3-cylinder. Right, we're winning slowly. 3 cylinders. Literally, before I part this up, it was running, so maybe I've knocked. All this has come off. I've taken all this off. All that's come off. So maybe it's something in there. I'm going to check all the plugs, but I can't get to them, really. I've got to take all this like wiring and fuel rail off in order to get to the plugs. Hang on. Look, I think I found it. Look, that wire's coming out the back of that. You see that? Can I get that off? So I haven't taken any of this off. Oh yeah, I've just pulled the wire straight out of that. Right, need 2 hands for this. Hold the line cooler. Alright, if I take that plug off. Okay. So that is obviously not supposed to be like that. So there's 2 wires that go into all the plugs, and this one is not seated inside there. So hopefully I can get that back in there, and that's all it is. It's a right fiddle. I think we might be getting some new plugs, because I'm not convinced that that's not a bit of a disaster waiting to happen again. Yeah, I don't trust that at all. Even that plug's not very good. Oh, I've just pulled it out again. Oh, this plug is gone. Oh, I see. The little plastic thing inside's gone AWOL. Right, let's fix that. Right, I've used like a little contraption, but I don't trust it. It's on there and the wire's not hanging out. Let's go and try and start it again. Right, I'm going to check this map again. 1. I never put it on map 4 because otherwise it wouldn't have run before, so I don't know why. I mean, to be fair, the battery was disconnected for a week, so. Oh, yes. That's running sweet as a nut. Yes. Yeah, it's that plug in there. It's got 2 wires going. All the injector plugs have got 2 wires going to them, and one of the wires was sticking out. I still don't trust it. I'm going to change that plug, but it's running. Ugh. Right, but I'm going to switch it off because it still hasn't got any coolant in it. Right, now, make some funny noises when this thing turns off. Right, it's all back together. It's running on 4 cylinders. Right, let's go and use our kit, and actually I'm going to take it down the wash bay where I've got an infinite supply of water and pour coolant with my little adapter thing in here and try and get all the air out of it. Then leave it running for well, I don't know, before it would tick over for like 3 or 4 minutes and the temperature gauges just creep up and up and up. Let's try and get all the air out of the system, especially because I've drained it again because I put a new thermostat in it, and then we're going to see if it's overheating. Oh yes, so happy I haven't got to push it outside every day. Paint and pen didn't work right. Yes. Is it going to start again? Probably should have checked it a second time. Was it a fluke? Yes! Yes! Oh, sounds fruity. Oh, that annoying beat. I remember Jeremy Clarkson moaning about that. My missus at 09, Honda FRV does the same. Right, with this bucket of stuff, we're going to rig it up to the radiator thing again and try and get all the air out of it. Right, there's one of these that I've made up. None of them, you end up getting all these bits and none of them fitted perfectly. So I actually put 2 fittings, put a rubber fitting off another one to make it fit in there, because when you put that on, it's got to be tight like that and not leak. Then all these other ones I can chuck out. Right, let's put that on there. Pull my little plunger out. And then what was in there was just blue antifreeze. And what we've got on the farm is also blue antifreeze. So this is good enough for supercharged Civic Type R's and John Deere's and forklifts alike. Loads of air. Glug, 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 glug. Come and have a look at this. I've also parked it slightly uphill to help get any air out. Now, I'm just going to squeeze that top hose. So it's blowing bubbles, but it's not, the level's not really going down. But obviously you can't put this much fluid in without header tank thing, otherwise it'll just fall out. So that radiator is now full, so technically it's over full. Well, I'm going to try running it. Oh, I can't tell you how good it is to start on the button. It's not really going down. I'm pretty sure the fan is on hot. It's so loud. This is really loud. Yeah, it's on fully high. Now, I've seen people say that the radiator's got to be on fully hot and you've got to have the fan blowing flat out. I don't think you do, because how fast the fan is going is only how much air is coming out of the cab. But your thermostat, hot and cold, does have to be on fully hot, otherwise it's not flowing through properly the heater matrix on the inside of the car. Well, at the moment that's not going down anymore, which is, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. The temperature gauge is still cold. That's what we've got to need to keep an eye on. I don't know whether to put more coolant in this or water. The beauty of this jug is you can overfill it, and any coolant you're not using, pour it back in. Although, technically, once you start squeezing that pipe, you might be mixing it with a bit of water. You've got to be a bit careful. Occasionally I get a little bubble. Right, let's see what the temperature gauge is doing. Okay, temperature gauge is coming up. And it's blowing warm air inside. Now, I've only just started it up, so it shouldn't be like hot, but the temperature gauge has just moved off the stop, which means there's coolant in it. This isn't going down, but I've got warm air on the inside. I know, we wait.
5 minutes later.
Right, it's been about 5 minutes. The level has gone down a tiny little bit, but also I think because the header tank is a little bit lower, than like this thing here, so I think it's dribbling a little bit out of this pipe, because that's not supposed to be full, but at the moment it is. Every pipe that I've found that's a coolant pipe is hot to touch. That's hot. That pipe there's a coolant pipe, that's hot. Everything's hot. The John Deere forklift coolant is about halfway down, and the temperature gauge is sitting bang on where it should sit. I've got the fan going inside, it's blowing lovely hot air. It's literally been sat there for 5 minutes. Now normally before, about 3-4 minutes, it was overheating. I also tried to rev it up. I think it's got some like launch control thing on it, because it just does this. And clouds of smoke slash whatever that is coming out the back, but I don't know. At the moment everything seems to be fine, but I'm worried that's I've fixed it. So was it a thermostat? Right, let's take this off. That's now full, and put the proper rad cap on, because this is all now getting warm. Yep, warm. Let's turn it off. Yeah, it sits on about a third. Chuck that in there, that in there. Slippery and tight. Oh, that is tight. That's how it is. Don't know. Let's run it some more. Oh, I can't tell you how good it is to press the start button, it crank over a couple of times, then fire up straight away, rather than da-da-da-da-da-da, or click. Everything seems to be, that top pipe's really hot, that pipe's hot, everything's hot that should be hot, radio's hot, that's how it should be, but inside the car is not overheating. I'm slightly worried about the amount of smoke that comes out of this when I do this. Oh no, it's cleared now. Might be the amount of cranking over it was doing and not firing. Might have just been a bit of fuel or a bit of condensation. This has been sat in the street for about 3-4 months. The first time it's been running for any amount of time. Good as gold. Right, I'm going to leave that running for another couple of 10 minutes, savour the day, and go and have a cup of tea. In fact, probably switch it off in case it overheats while I'm having a cup of tea, and then come out and drink my cup of tea whilst watching the thermostat. I mean, each their own. It's like watching paint dry, but it's like watching your supercharged Honda Civic Type R not overheat. So hopefully that's cured it. If you think there's anything else that I should try, also anyone that knows how to get the smell of like gearbox oil or whatever it is that the interior smells like, because I've jet washed all the bits of carpet that were on the floor and it still smells like it. So if there's a trick for that, let us know. As always, like, subscribe, share, put some comments in there please, and help us out with anything else that I need to know about this. And I'll see you on the next one. Well, it's the only place I've got to do a road test, or a field test. This is quite literally a field test. But I'm not sure how many supercharged Civic Type R's have been in the field. But this one's now not overheating, potentially, at about 2,000 revs across a field. Maybe that's cured it.